Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Welcome back to the next round of the Go-Kart Championship in 2017. Today we're at a new track. This is Brooklands down on the coast in Sussex. So you can see here today a very different track. This is a very small track. So over this season we're going to go into a lot of different tracks, including Filter Manor, which you've already seen. Also some bigger tracks like Lid. Also tracks like Buckmore Park, you know, some of the faster tracks as well as some of the slower tracks. It will balance itself out as the season goes on here, but this is of course one of the slower tracks here today at Brooklands. So how the sort of layout of our event went was we went out in two sets of 3 for 10-minute practice sessions just to get used to the track in these slippery conditions. Then we had 2 5-lap races. It seems short, but don't worry, there's still action in them. And then at the end there was like a bit of a time trial, 10-minute time trial about who could get the fastest lap. So how the points are going to work out for this one, guys, because of course the different layout means different point systems. So it means that for both of the races you're going to get half points, and then for the time trial at the end of the day that's going to be 4 points of what a normal race distance would be. So if you win one of the races, the 5-lap races, you'll get 7.5 points for the win. If you win the time trial, you'll get 15 points like a normal race at Filching Manor. So I thought I'd quickly explain that. It's a little bit different to what we've had normally, and yeah, I thought I'd better explain it because it might get confusing otherwise. So a general consensus on the track. I think pretty much everyone enjoyed it. It was a bit of a small track. Yes, not getting up to much sort of speed, but in the day, go-karting is supposed to be fun. You know, you might be going 70 miles an hour on some of these other tracks, but sometimes they're just not fun, and this one certainly was. So practice was over. We didn't really get any sort of times for that sort of stuff, but this is the first race of the day. There wasn't any sort of grid order because he thought the second race was going to be reversed, so it sort of equaled itself out as how they sorted it out. So here we go then, guys. First race of the day. Great start from James here on third place on the grid. He jumps me already down to turn 1, has got me. I'm down to third place here with Tom starting on pole position. He's gone through into the lead this race, sliding through the first corner there. My dad's gone in 4th, John's in 5th, and Will started in last and is in 6th place right now. So there we go through the first couple of corners here. Really tight part of the track here. This corner right here that Tom's going through, they asked us not to go through side by side, so we're not allowed any sort of overtaking through that corner there. So you can see from this camera view here, we're sliding all over the place through this last corner. Honestly, guys, this track is quite demanding. Even though you're not really getting up to much sort of speed, you're still sort of steering all the time, so you've got to keep alert. So lap number 2, Tom's still leading, James in 2nd, I'm in 3rd. My dad nearly getting overtaken by John there, but couldn't quite get past. That's a tight part of the track. We go back on board with me. James just hit the inside barrier, but this is the corner that you can't overtake, so remember, no overtaking through there. So up to the last corner here. The last corner, James has gone wide. I've gone for the inside move. I think I've done it. Side by side down the main straight. I think I've got the overtake done. Up ahead of James into 2nd place. Now can I try and catch down to Tom? 3 laps to go. Is that enough time? And you might have noticed as well, John has overtaken my dad. The nice little overtake here. My dad's gone wide. John just sails through there and up into 4th place. But now there is a bit of a gap to the leading 3, which are, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 seconds ahead of John in 4th place right now. Maybe even more than that. It's sort of strung out quite quickly already, and Will struggling to get past my dad there. So we go on board with Tom here through the last couple of corners. You can see it really is a little tricky track here. You're sliding all over the place through his last couple of corners, and that's probably the best place to line up and overtake. As we go across the line onto lap number 4, we can see the back trio have definitely lost a bit of time as we look to the front trio, who are already coming around the first couple of corners. So we've definitely gained a lot of time there in the first couple of laps here, and we're putting away quite substantially. I mean, that gap to John has already gone up to quite a big margin, like nearly 5 seconds at this point already. So you can see on board with me now, just over a lap to go. Have I got enough time here to try and overtake Tom? He's sliding through that last corner. He couldn't quite get the power down as early as he would have liked to have done, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get the overtake done myself. So on board with John here. He's gone for a bit of a slide himself as everyone is heading on to the last lap of this 5-lap race here, guys. Yes, it is a short race, but that's how they laid it out. We're not going to say no to that. It's just fun racing at the end of the day. So last lap here. Looks like everyone is sorted in their positions here. Will can't get quite past my dad, can he? No, he looked for the move down the inside, but he couldn't quite get it done. And up to the start-finish line, Tom's going to win the race. I'm going to come home in 2nd place. 3rd place is going to go to James with a good race there as well. Last couple of corners as well for John. He's going to pick up 4th place. My dad's going to finish 5th. And a pretty disappointing one for Will there. Just couldn't quite get the overtake done. And he's going to finish in 6th place. So crazy race there, guys, considering it only lasted 5 laps. Lots of little interesting things going on there, and this is how the race ended up here. Quite strung out by the end there. Tom won by 0.6 seconds, then James was about 3 seconds further back from me. Then it was John 8.1 back, my dad was 10 seconds back, and then Will was 11.1 seconds back. And yes, that's really strange to see Will actually in last place, because let's be honest, he dominated that last round of the championship with pole and both race wins. And I guess different tracks suit different drivers. These were brand new karts, guys. We were the second people ever to go on these karts, so it's really really strange as well to see Will down there. But, you know, maybe different styles suit different drivers, as we just said. So, race 2 coming right up here, guys, with that reverse grid, meaning Will starts on pole position for this one. So, maybe that's a chance for him to make up for some lost points here. So, no official starting procedure here, just a ready, steady go. And away we go here for the second race of these 5 laps. So, this should be pretty exciting. Down to turn 1, there's side-by-side contact between me and Tom as he gets a slightly better start. But I think it's all even through the first couple of corners. Everyone has held position. It's Will, it's my dad, it's John. But I think James has been overtaken by me. Yes, he's left the gap down the inside. I've gone for the move down the inside. And Tom, he's cheekily gone for an overtake as well. So James has just went from 4th to 6th down in one corner. That must be absolutely gutting for him there. He left a bit of a gap, and unfortunately everyone just sailed through there. So over the line for the first lap of the race, it's Will from my dad, from John, from me, from Tom, from James as we go across down into turn 1 here. Everyone just taking it quite cautious on these first couple of laps here while the tyres are slightly cold. And as we go through the sort of really tight right-hander here, if you get an aerial shot, this is one of the tightest corners on the track here. I think my dad slightly tapped the inside wall there. John's going to have a look for a move, is he possibly? It's obviously the part of the track where you can't overtake it. My dad's looking for a move on the inside of Will, but he's hit the inside barrier, and John's trying to go for a move on the inside. Is he going to be able to do it? It's side by side, down to the first corner. I don't think, has he gone it? It's side by side. No, he's had to back out of it there, so my dad keeps second place for now, and he's slightly hit the wall on the exit as well. I'm trying to cover from Tom and attack John at the same time. It's all going off here as we go on board with me here. You can see I'm trying to catch down John, who's trying to get past my dad, and all this little squabbling here is really helping Will just pull out a bit of an advantage here. So Will through the final corner. My dad's gone really wide there. Surely John's going to go for a move down the inside. I think he is. What an incredible run from John, side by side down the main straight. I think he's going to get the overtake done, and it's John through into second position, and I think side by side between now me and my dad. Oh, he's hit the tyre wall. I don't think there was contact, but he's actually hit the wall, and I think Tom's gone through as well. So let's have a quick replay of this, guys, from my point of view. John and my dad going side by side down into turn 1. I'm putting the cart in the middle of the track so Tom can't go for an overtake as well. And now down through this first corner here, my dad leaves the room, but I don't think he quite anticipated the corner so quickly, so he actually slid into that. So now on board with John, you can see my dad really hit that inside tyre wall there, meaning he went really wide, meaning it looked like John actually had an incredible run, when in fact it was just my dad having a bad run. So through the first corner, John gets through quite easily. I think they're still slightly side by side at this point, and John gets through quite easily. So now on board with Tom, let's see how this uncovers from his point of view. Down into the first corner. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good stuff there from Tom, just keeping it out of the way. And you can see Tom, he's looking at me going down the inside here. Now, you can see there's a gap. He's just about gone for it. He's gone full lock here. He's really slid out wide there, but he's just about managed to keep it under control there. Good stuff there from Tom. He was struggling a little bit with the car. I talked to him afterwards, and he was having to go like full lock to get around some of the corners. So he was not enjoying particularly the wet conditions in these karts here today. Maybe the new karts hadn't bedded in yet. So as Will goes around the last corner here, onto lap number 5, which actually isn't the last lap of the race. So I've looked at the footage, guys. It actually goes to 6 laps for this race for some reason, so okay, doesn't really matter. 1 extra lap, bit more excitement hopefully. So it looks like everyone is sort of just backing off a little bit here, making sure they don't get overtaken more than they're trying to overtake anyone else here. But John is going to really try and put the pressure here on Will to get his first victory of the season. That'd be great for John if he could pick that up. Anyway, Will sliding about through these last couple of corners. Is he going to be able to maintain it? And hopefully, for me at least, I'm going to try and overtake John and get that second position now. I'm going to need that to try and extend the gap in the championship to Tom, who picked up a couple of points on me in that first race, obviously with the race victory over me finishing in second. But the reverse in this one here is I'm ahead of Tom, so I'm going to pick up a couple of points on him, and it's basically down to the time trial here to see who's going to pick up more points over this race weekend here. So this is the last lap, guys. Is anyone going to try and go for an overtake here? The last corner doesn't look like it's going to be, so Will's going to pick up another victory. John's going to pick up his best result of the season in second. I'm going to pick up another podium, which is good for me. 4th place is going to go to Tom. See, my dad, I don't think quite realised the finish there, trying to go for a move on Tom there, but he couldn't quite get that done, and it was 5th place for my dad and 6th place for James, who just couldn't quite get an overtake in there. He was unlucky on the first lap of the race to lose all those positions, and unfortunately he couldn't quite fight back from it. So this is how it all finished here, guys. 6 laps. Will picks up another victory this season. I think that's 3 out of his 4 races he's won, which is quite mad. Anyway, so he's won with 6 laps. 0.8 seconds behind was John, 1.3 behind was me, then Tom on 1.6, my dad was 1.9, and James a little bit back from my dad on 2.9. And you can see those standings are 100% 100% accurate, that's because I've had to work them out instead of actually given them on a piece of paper. So let's head across this time trial, guys. It's a little bit more relaxed than a race. It wasn't quite as hectic. So what they did is they sent us out like 5 seconds apart, and we were just sent out there for 10 minutes to go and set our fastest time possible there. So that was the goal, and you can see here a little bit of a collision there. That was just Tom absolutely sort of understeering into the side of me there. He didn't have any grip. He was going full lock, and he just unfortunately couldn't steer in. It is a tight old track here. So as there isn't really a race, what I decided to do, guys, is sort of go on board with a couple of us for a few laps here and just see how we did here. So on board with me firstly here, I really enjoyed this track, guys. I don't know whether you guys enjoy watching it, but personally for me, I really enjoyed this track, especially with the slightly damp conditions that we were racing in. It was just fun sliding about a little bit, and also sort of having to second guess what people in front were going to do, because by doing that you might be able to get like a cheeky overtake in, and we got a couple of little overtakes in there. Obviously not quite as many as we normally have at Filching, but it was a nice old track to drive and I really enjoyed it. So let's have a look at James now and how he was faring out there today. You can see here down to turn 1 here, he's going to go, is he going to flat out a bit of a lift up there through there? You can see he's trying to chase down my dad. Is he going to be able to get an overtake down on this lap? As there might be a bit of, getting held up slightly. It's really tough to tell from the race who actually had the most pace. I mean, definitely me and Tom were the ones to overtake, I say, the most people. But overall, I think maybe Will was one of the most sort of cautious in a way, and he was just keeping on the track. He was doing a good job. So we'll see at the end of the session how it all plays out. But James, there's a lap time from him there, not particularly the fastest, as he sort of stuck up behind my dad. So maybe one of his fastest laps were earlier on in the session when he wasn't stuck up behind my dad. You can see he nearly slid wide into the wall there, and now he's slowed up a little bit. So let's go on board with John now. He's following Will, obviously a good person to follow because we know Will is ultra quick in go-kart. So he was probably one of the best people to follow out there today, especially in these sort of conditions. You want to follow someone who knows what they're doing. So a good idea from John, but then also in the same way, maybe he left a bit more of a gap. He might have actually tried to push a little bit harder, because when there's a bit more of a gap between you, you can generally push a bit harder because you feel like you're trying to close down a gap. When it's this close and you suppose you know it's not a race, maybe you're not pushing quite as hard. I don't know, it's a really tough one to call here. I mean, you can definitely follow Will's lines to see how quick he is, but is that the best way? Is it not? Who knows in these sort of conditions? So you can see there John following Will and definitely getting some good tips from him here. Now let's go on board with Tom here. He was just going absolutely crazy with it. He's just trying everything he can do to get the fastest lap time here. He's really, really pushing here. Slightly wide on this lap here. We didn't get given the information about who was actually quickest on what certain lap. So I can't show you the fastest laps from each person, but I can sort of show you a lap of each person, and you can sort of see generally what their style is like. You can see here, I'll say definitely Thomas was catching here up to the back of John and Will. So I'd assume from this pace at least, it looks like Tom is probably the quickest guy out there already. So we'll see around the last couple of corners. Is he going to be able to nail it? Oh, for this lap at least, he slightly tagged that corner there, sent him a bit sideways. But let's have a look at these results here, guys. This is going to be the big point. So I just about get a time trial victory. I was really happy with that. I wanted to make sure that I won this, so I pulled out a bit of a points advantage over Tom, because I know when we go back to Filching Manor, he's more likely to beat me there. So I was good and happy that we managed to get a couple of points on him here today. So I got a 25.63. Tom was about 3 tenths back from me. 2 tenths back from him was James. And about a tenth back, or less than a tenth back from James, was John. John's going to be gutted to miss out on extra points there from 6 thousandths of a second there. Sorry, 6 hundredths of a second there. And my dad was only 5 hundredths back. And then Will actually surprisingly finished last here today, which was definitely surprising in the time trial at least. But he did also get a race victory, so maybe that slightly evens it out for him. And as for the standings after that round here, you can see I managed to get on the podium each and every one of those races. So we managed to actually get a nice hold of points here today, and we're 6.5 points clear of Tom, because the annoying half points that I decided to do for this round, they're going to mess it up for the rest of the season. So apologies. So I'm on 74 points. Tom is on 76.5. He got a victory there today, which was good in one of the races, which I didn't manage to do, so that's good for him. John managed to pick up a nice podium in there in the middle as well, which means he's up to 52 points. He's half a point ahead of Will as well, which is quite funny. Then we've got James on 36. My dad's on 32. And then we've got Will's dad and Archie, who didn't race here today, on 19 and 14 respectively. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like on the video. That'd be awesome. If we could hit 100 likes, that'd be massively appreciated. And tune in about a month's time for more of the Go-Kart Championship in 2017. Goodbye.